Hello friends, and welcome to the Hanged Man in the Moon. If this is your first time here, welcome. Thank you for coming. I'm pleased to meet you. If you've been here before, thank you for returning. I'm truly honored. Friends, if you are a returning visitor, you know that this is my series in which I'm diving into a very unique and significant deck called The Tarot of the Holy Light by Christine Payne-Towler. And this is a deck which is based on the Continental Tarot system, which is different from the system that I grew up with and that probably many of you are used to working with, the Golden Dawn-based systems, which are not bad, but they're different. Yeah, they're the systems that were developed in the early 1900s and just before. And the most commonly known forms of those are the Rider-Waite-Smith or the Smith-Coleman deck and the Harris-Crowley, the Thoth deck. Those are two of the most commonly thought of Golden Dawn tradition decks and their iterations throughout history. But this deck is different and it's unique. So what do? I pull one card each day and I look at that card and I acknowledge the thoughts, the ideas, the significances that I recall from my study of the Golden Dawn decks. And I try to disengage, to detangle those thoughts from the card that is being presented to me for the day. Yeah, I want to acknowledge them because I want to be sure that I don't fall into the trap of seeing that and not what is being presented, if that makes sense. And so, to help me with that process, I pull 3 cards from a very trusted RWS-based deck called the Light Seers Tarot. And the first card is the significance of the daily draw card. The second card is the obstacle. The third is the advice. Very typical 3-card spread. So, I did that. And so at the end of the day, I live my day and I keep the cards in mind throughout the day. And then at the end of the day, I pull out my trusted guidebook for the Tarot of the Holy Light and I read the entry for the card for the daily draw, and as intended by the creator, and I see how that has revealed itself to me or not revealed itself to me during the day. That's my process. So the card that I got today was a card that most of us do not like seeing come up for them in a spread for themselves or for others. It was the Tower card. Upright, but the Tower card. One of the 2 or 3 cards that most people really do not like to see, even though we can unpack it and we know it's not disaster, most of us do not want to see this card show up. Interestingly, when this card did show up, and I did remember all of those things that I learned about the Tower card in the Golden Dawn based decks, 2 things that I know, well, a thing that I noticed, in addition to the people falling out of the tower, which we usually see, and also the lightning coming down from the skies, this time from a sun, a very clear image of a sun in the clouds. But you also notice that there are these 2 creatures, this one and this one, who are flying around. I think not everyone in this card is falling. Some of them are just flying around and observing. So that could have been another possibility, right? So I looked at this card and I thought of all those cracking apart, breaking down structures, breaking down ego perhaps. And I tried to disengage that. And what I really thought of was the inbreaking of light from the divine and then those creatures flying around. And I got the sense of liberation from this card, for me. And I'll tell you why in a little bit. But then I pulled my 3 cards from the Light Seers Tarot. Oh, and let me show you those cards right now. You saw those 3 cards were the 10 of Wands, which maybe was not a big surprise, the 4 of Cups, and then the 5 of Pentacles for the advice. That was kind of a twist on an advice card, right? So, 10 of Wands. We see the burden card, right? And we see this figure. The human is not bearing the burden, but the animal is bearing the burden in this card. Yeah? We see the path has been long. We see the path has been lit by wands. We don't actually see 10 wands in this card. I guess if you look in detail, you can see them. There are a bunch of wands in a bag at her side as well. So I guess if we count them all up, there are probably 10 wands there. But the burden being carried is not entirely being carried by the human, but most of it is being carried by the beast. But we get that. We get the long path. Maybe this figure is reaching the end of the path, getting closer to their destination, but it's been a long journey and burdened path, which makes sense for me. The obstacle is this: boredom, maybe, ennui, maybe. Yeah, we see the possibility of a rainbow there off to the side, but the figure is not looking at the rainbow. The figure is looking at the stuff that is not satisfying to the person. So that's can understand that as being an obstacle. Yeah, you've got this burden that you're perhaps almost to the finish line, and maybe you're bored with the whole thing now. Maybe you're just let's get it over with, and it's not, and missing something. There's a possibility of missing something there too. And then the advice is to feel poor and destitute. Feel cast out and feel neglected. That's the advice. That's not the obstacle. That's the advice. Yeah, the door. There's a key to the door right there. But the person is not looking at the key, not going to get the key to open the door with all those pentacles on it. It's just sitting there distraught. That's the advice, to sit there distraught. And then, okay, so how could that be advice? The only thing that comes to mind for me in this situation is be in the present moment. When you're feeling it, feel it. Don't push it down. Don't try to distract yourself from it. Be in the moment. And if that's what you're feeling, feel it. If you're feeling distraught, if you're feeling destitute, if you're feeling neglected, if you're feeling lacking of resources, feel it. It may not be the truth, but feel it. Does that make sense? I think that's what this was trying to tell me. So I lived my day. And then I went to the book. And the book is cram-packed with information. I'm not going to go through the entire thing here. But let me read some of it to you right now. In the Tower card, we face the shock of the unforeseen, plus the losses and their close following accusations occasioned by the sudden failure. As is evidence, the precious medicine combining in the sealed and suspended vessel is vitalized by the electric bolt, suggesting that the forthcoming liberation will prove to have been worth the shock. At this point, all the hardness, dryness, fixity, resistance, and immovability of the Father are pulverized, liberating the soul from its embeddedness in time, space, and form. So there's this liberation idea. The shock, this energy has come down and is vitalizing this medicine bottle, and of perhaps liberation. Moving right along. One now has to inquire, is the lightning that blasts the tower a normal, natural event, or is it the punishment for evil doing? The answer to this question will color one's interpretation of this card in a spread. Makes sense. Yeah? So this medicine could be medicine to heal or medicine to punish. The Orthodox Christian will look at the faces of the two cards being this card and the previous one, the devil, and read the story of Lucifer's fall and punishment. Makes sense? So the tower would then be the punishment, right? Meanwhile, the Theosophical Christian might see the liberation of Sophia from her demonic scapegoating and the ending of the patriarchal regime. So the devil in Theosophical Christianity can be seen as the twisted conception of Sophia, as wisdom has manifested the world. The image of Sophia has been mutated into this devil image. And so the tower would be the liberation of Sophia from that imprisonment in a false form. Someone from outside the Judeo-Christian discussion might further see the release of nature from under enslaving hand of man. That's also nature liberated as well. Okay. Okay, good. Yes. Here we go with this one. Starts with Trump 16. One can feel punished or one can feel liberated by celestial absolution, but the net effect is, in either case, is a total restructuring of one's relationship with the manifested world. That's important. A total restructuring of relationship with the manifested world. A more esoteric statement is being made with the trump in the alchemically inflected Jacques Vivier Tarot. In this Trump 16, a young blonde shepherd is grazing his flocks under the large tree, which is suddenly illuminated by a radiance emerging from a bank of clouds. Just a moment. I think I've got that card. I forgot. I was going to prepare it for you. Just a moment. So, this is the card from the Vivier Tarot. You see the young person under the tree being hit by lightning, right? You can see the sparks flying off from the tree. Now, the deck that Christine Payne-Towler references in the book is the deck drawn by Flanois, I believe, but this is the deck by Patrick Coq. That's the only one I have. But this is the one that she's talking about. So the grazing his flocks. Where was I? See, a young blonde shepherd is grazing his flocks under a large tree, which is suddenly illuminated by a radiance emerging from a bank of clouds. Can you see the flock down there? Can you see the heads of the animals down there? It's a little bit more difficult to see here. She references the coloration of the clothes in the Flanois deck, but this is different. So I'm not going to read that. Moving on. We got the idea of illumination though, right? This tower serves as a lightning rod, sighted and set up to attract the lightning and channel it through a sealed vessel into the ground. Yeah? This one. By its very nature, lightning cannot be tamed or called or controlled. One can only construct the conditions that are conducive to provoking it and then be patient. So there's also the potential of you wanting this lightning to strike. Yeah? Hoping it will strike, setting up the best conditions to take advantage of the lightning. So, my day was not all that eventful, but I don't know if I mentioned this, but when I arrived in Korea, I think I probably have already talked about this. When I arrived in Korea, I was supposed to take a COVID test, one of those PCR tests, and I got off the plane, got my bags, and immediately, while I was at the airport, went right to a testing center and I got myself tested. And then the next night, that night or the next day, I got the result saying there was no result. Not positive, not negative, inconclusive. So I had to go back and get another test. And then Sunday I was too fatigued. Monday I went, and there was a whole thing about that in my previous video. Yes, I did talk about this in my previous video. I got myself tested eventually, and then I waited. And then this morning I got up and I was waiting for the results, and I was waiting for the results, and I was waiting for the results. Okay, it was only like an hour or two, but it felt like an eternity because I had expected I would get the results at the beginning while I was asleep, frankly. And I didn't see results, and I didn't so I asked a friend that I might have to ask them to help me to contact the district office and find out why I haven't got my results. I mean, first time the result was inconclusive. This time I'm not getting my results. What's going on? And then it turns out I had gotten my results, but I had been expecting a form of some sort similar to the result that I got from the test at the airport. I expected a document, PDF document or something, an image of a document saying that this is the person, this is the test, and the test was positive, negative, or inconclusive again. But no, what I got was a very short, like 2-sentence text message saying that the test was negative. That's all. So the test is negative. I'm good to go. So what does that mean for me now? It means that now I can leave quarantine, my self-imposed semi-quarantine, and go back to work tomorrow. And I think pretty much that's what this is. The end of all of my hospital and quarantine and all of that the last few weeks of my life have all been about COVID and quarantine and all of that. And then now I'm free to behave as I like. I don't have to quarantine myself. I don't have to watch over somebody else. I mean, that person is my mother, and yes, I love her, and I would do anything for her, and watching over her was a blessing, but still, I can get back to my normal life now. Or at least my life now. I can do what I think I want to do. So I think that's what this was, that liberation. And yes, it has been a long, burdensome journey in a sense, and I reached the end. And today was a little bit boring. It was. And maybe there is something I'm missing. Maybe there is something. I did a lot today. I unpacked my, you'd say, you unpacked your bags. When did you get home? Why weren't you unpacking your bags immediately? Well, because jet lag, the heat, it's hot here. I really dislike packing and unpacking in the heat. All of that, I don't like it. But so I unpacked my bags. I separated the laundry from the things to put into on the shelves. I did all of that. I did it. It was not exciting, interesting work, but I did it. And yeah, I did feel a little bit of this, and I didn't resist it. I think that's the meaning of this spread of cards for me today. And I'm sure there's also a deeper meaning. I'm sure that there's also this personally, I don't feel like I don't feel punished. I don't feel like I was punished today. I feel liberated, not as quickly liberated. I mean, I didn't go out and I didn't party, and I'm going to work tomorrow. But I do feel liberated. I do feel free to begin my life again. And yeah, there was some 4 of Cups going on as a potential obstacle, but I was present to the day. I think that was the point for today as well. And tomorrow I'll go to work. I'll ride my bicycle in the morning. I've got that all set up. And I'll begin my life in Korea again. So friends, what do you think? Let me know. If you're still here, hit the thumbs up button. You know why. It helps YouTube tell other people, it helps YouTube know that people are interested and other people might be interested too. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed, and hit the alarm bell so that you know when I upload videos. I try to do one a day now, but at the end of August, I'm going to probably be shifting to the 2 a week. So it's good to have an alarm there. And comment below. I would really love to hear from you. If you want a private reading from me, I'm all set up. I have my email address below. Shoot me an email, say I want a private reading, and we'll work it out. It's not a difficult thing. And friends, now, as always, I wish you love, joy, well-being, and pure awareness. Thank you.